Greetings petrolheads, my name is the Tom, you're on my gaming channel, and it's time for another episode of Automation, the car company tycoon game. So, first up, before we get into this episode, I am going to do another review, and if you guys don't like me reviewing cars, then I'm sorry, but if you do like it, then, you know, all the better. And tomorrow, since tomorrow is Sunday, I am going to do something pretty special. A replica of a truly iconic car, and I'm sorry, it's not the Mark IV Supra, but something that I think you guys are gonna enjoy just as much. And today, as I said, I'm gonna do another review. It is from Brazilian Autos Ltd. It's called Nauru, and the creator, which is a long-time channel supporter, Matheus De Oliveira, he said I should read out his message first before starting the review, and it says: the car of Brazilian Autos Ltd has this name because in Tupi-Guarani, an old native born of Brazil that uses this language, Nauru means savage, ferocious, a thing with a lot of strength. And this car was made in open beta with a V6. So, this is a ferocious little sports car with a V6 engine. At least we know that it's not gonna make, you know, 800 or 1000 horsepower, something like that, because we still can't turbocharge V6s, because turbochargers for V6s aren't finished yet. But it still looks pretty damn sporty and aggressive, especially with that wing. I kind of like that detail on the, like with the vents around the taillights. That looks pretty cool. Looks almost like on a, you know, on a rally car or on any sort of racing car where, you know, they put those covers over the taillights so that they don't break as easily. That's what that looks me, and that's what that reminds me of. And the headlights, I mean, come on, it's difficult to not make the front of this body look like either an MX-5 or an S2000, and this one looks a little bit more like an S2000, but it's still okay, with plenty of vents, air intakes. It looks the part. I also like the roofline back here, that really looks different from MX-5s and S2000s and whatnot. And now that we've discussed the looks, let's get into the chassis. It's an AHS steel monocoque with double wishbones front, multi-link rear, and aluminium panels. And of course the engine is mounted longitudinally, because who would want a front-wheel drive car with this body shell? Like, come on. And it is all-wheel drive, actually. And it's got a, let's say, 3.7 liter V6, naturally aspirated, 4 valves per cylinder, made from aluminium, no VVL, billet steel, I-beam titanium conrods, and lightweight forged pistons. 413 horsepower is quite a lot indeed. And looks like this engine has higher stroke than bore, and so he could have gone for a better exhaust header and for a better intake configuration, because they are in fact restricting airflow, which means if he had chosen better intake configuration and better exhaust header, it would make even more power, because the reliability is not hurt at all, since everything's green here. And 12.1 to 1 compression ratio is fairly aggressive. Oh, plus 15 quality in here as well. Yeah, that's actually thought so. Plus 10 quality on the bottom end. So it would, yeah, it would cause reliability issues if it hadn't this much quality in here. It is naturally aspirated, as we saw. Direct injection with a single configuration. Now if I go for a twin configuration, then this is green. this is green. It's not restricting airflow anymore, and we're making 10 more horsepower. A really, really rich fuel mixture for a naturally aspirated engine. Let's go back here. And 7,900 RPM rifle limit is not all that high. Plus 7 quality here is still acceptable. What do we got here? Long tubular headers with dual exhausts. Well, dual exhausts with long tubular headers. I make that mistake all the time. So the exhaust headers, race tubular would give us 23 more horsepower, and then if we go for, it's actually got race intake. That's interesting. Race intake. Why don't you go for this then as well? For the throttle per cylinder configuration. With this, you'd get how much? 476 horsepower. Whereas now you have 413 with just 2 clicks. Yeah, but it does not have a cat in 2005. That's kind of behind the 8 ball, isn't it? And also, you could go for a much higher compression ratio than this. I don't know why it's this low. Now, turn on your volume first before I actually start up this engine, because V6s in the current build are extremely loud even with mufflers. So, here we go. Damn. That's loud. So what do we got transmission wise? We got a sequential 6-speed gearbox, only a single clutch available in 2005. Electric LSD, very short spacing. Power distribution of 45% front, 55% rear, +5 quality, 17-inch rims, sports tires, +6 quality on the tires as well, 225s front, 255s rear, which is totally acceptable because it's all-wheel drive. If it were rear-wheel drive, then it would have massive wheel spin with this kind of tire setup. 4-piston vented disc up front with fairly aggressive pad type, or actually moderately aggressive, it's not overly aggressive. 270mm in size, and then the solid discs with 4 pistons of 240mm in the rear end. We do have a little bit of brake fade. Yeah, and going for a vented disc in the rear end would almost completely solve that. Yeah, but as is, it does have brake fade, even with the +10 quality in here. It's got a downforce under tray, but no actual downforce. With an active wing, I don't really see the point in having an active wing if you have 0 downforce and 0 wing angle. Because what the active wing does is, if you do have a lot of wing angle for going through corners, then the active wing will kind of, you know, how do I say this? On the straights, it will make the wings flatter so you can achieve higher top speeds, and then in the corners or upon braking, it'll set it to whatever you have selected here. For example, if I go for 100, or if I go for 100 now, you can see 275 kilometers an hour top speed. But now if I change the rear angle, it does not actually affect the top speed anymore, up until the point when I go down from 30 to 20. So I'd need at least 30 in the rear, and if I go Yeah, on the front end at least, it does affect the top speed, apparently. Because we're still not making downforce. Yeah, whatever, but this... What the heck? This was all set to 0, and we have a top speed of 294 kilometers an hour. +5 quality in here. Plenty of cooling. Only 2 seats with sports interior, +5 quality in there though. So everything is nicely stitched and whatnot. Premium sat nav. No stability control, but everything else as far as driver assists go. Interesting choice. I don't know why stability control was out of the question. Advanced safety with +5 quality, because you know this car is probably not that easy to drive, and in case you do have a crash, it should be safe. Progressive springs with adaptive 10% semi-active sway bars. So this is a pretty advanced suspension setup here, with a sports setup on the tuning, and +10 quality in here. Now the car, despite its relatively small size, weighs 1461 kilograms, which is kind of heavy for this body shop and for a sports interior. But it is still okay. We got 55 drivability, 50 sportiness. I expected this to be a little bit higher though, with the kind of engine we have in here, with the power, with the acceleration figures that I think this car is gonna make. Comfort is not too bad at all. 43.5, prestige is 35.0, and safety is 64.6. That's very, very safe. And let's run it on the full track again. Turn on your speakers for a second. It's gonna be loud. The line in 123.55, so that is around the Porsche 997 GT3, I think, somewhere around that. 123. Yeah, that is about, yeah, that's a little bit faster than the Lamborghini Murcielago, also faster than the Aston Martin DBS, faster than the Koenigsegg CC8S, and actually a little bit slower than the 997 GT3 I was talking about. But that's still pretty fast. However, keep in mind we do have 413 horsepower, so it shouldn't be a surprise. Overall, I think this car could use a little bit more fine-tuning. Like, for example, go for better brakes here. Make him just a little bit bigger so we don't have brake fade anymore. Okay, so that didn't help anymore. that. Now we don't have brake fade anymore, which also increased our drivability and sportiness both for about 4 points. So that is quite a lot. Then you could also change the gearing here so that you can reach 100 in second gear, giving you a little bit more drivability and sportiness again. Yeah, it will hurt the 0 to 100 km/h time, but it will reduce wheel spin, and it will overall not make it faster. Okay, so that was apparently a better choice here. Yeah, so okay, changing the brakes but not the gearing will make it faster around the track. And again, as I already pointed out, the intake configuration and the exhaust header both are reducing airflow. So if you go for, I mean, you already have race intakes, so this is basically a race engine, because race intakes, as far as I know, are not allowed for road cars. So if you're gonna go down that road, you might as well go for a throttle per cylinder configuration and race tubular exhaust headers, and then all of a sudden you have 476 horsepower instead of 413. And you can also change the compression ratio so that you can use your run to the maximum extent. There we go, 483 compared to 413. That's 70 more horsepower. What does that do? Yeah, 310 km/h top speed now, because that is gearing limit. And 122.98 around the test track. Also, quite a difference on the quarter mile here and on the standing kilometer. So that's just my 2 cents. However, I will admit that it was a pretty good car to begin with, and wait a minute, where was this? It's like 275, and then, yeah, that's what it was, 275, 250. And did I change anything else other than on the engine? I don't think so. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode while I'm changing this back. If you did, click the like button, helps out a great deal. Subscribe if you want to see more in the future, but for now, thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys next time with a very interesting replica that you will enjoy.